The Committee on Public Safety, Border Safety, Military and Veterans Affairs, Mayor's Council of Guam, Infrastructure and Public Transit is now conducting a confirmation hearing today for the appointment of Joseph S. Carbolito to serve as the Director of Department of Correction. For the record and in confirmation of Section 8107 of Chapter 8, Title 5, GCA, the first public hearing notice was sent out on Wednesday, August 5th, 2020 to adhere to the 5 working days requirement, and the second confirmation hearing adhering to the 48 hours notice was sent out on Monday, August 10, 2020, and in addition to these notices, they were also sent out to the media and posted on the Guam Legislature's website. And I would like to thank everybody for your participation this morning, and we have like 16 people that is scheduled to testify this afternoon. But let me just put out the rules of engagement here and the rules of conduct in as far as everybody that's going to testify. When the host of this hearing will mute all participants until called upon by the chair. When called to speak, please ensure that you are unmuted and that you are speaking into your microphone. Members of the committee or the legislature wishing to speak may indicate their desire to the chair to the in-app chat feature. Individuals testifying should first be recognized by the chair before speaking and should state their name for record purposes. The order of questioning will begin with the panel of senators who shall complete their lines of questioning for each respective items on the agenda. Upon completion of the panel's line of questioning, the chair will pose questions. Each member will be allowed to pose a question to an individual testifying for a round and will be provided another round if needed. Questions and testimonies shall be confined to the substance of the nature of the agenda. First, yeah, we're having audio issue also, so please bear with me. Okay, let me just forward with the rules of engagement here. Personal inference as to the character or to the motive of any senator or any individual testifying is not permitted. Any violation of this general rule of conduct will result in the removal from the public hearing by the host. And now we will have those who are testifying for Mr. Joseph Carbolito proceed first, and then we will have Mr. Carbolito testify for himself. So I'm gonna go down with the listing. We got about 16 individuals that will be testifying. So if you can just keep your testimony in a minimum, that will be helpful for all of us. First off, I would like to call on Patricia Taimanglo. Pat, go ahead.
Good morning or good afternoon. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Senator, to address the panel on behalf of Joseph Carbolito. Department of Corrections has undergone several leadership transitions in the last few years. This testimony is based on my observations throughout Mr. Carbolito's tenure as acting director. His leadership skills have stood out as necessary, and it is this clinical psychologist certified correctional healthcare provider's position that he has demonstrated leadership qualities that have garnered my full support in his pursuit of the confirmation as director of DOC. As the acting director, Mr. Carbolito follows numerous and some of the most difficult periods in DOC's recent history, of which you are all aware. This agency demands leadership and action to carry out a multitude of initiatives to address the many challenges it alone faces, as well as the severest of accusations and criticisms from all fronts. He navigates through each with a humble demeanor, persistently moving forward, addressing each challenge with dignity, humanity, patience, adaptability, and the steep learning curve of the factors that make Department of Corrections unique when compared to other agencies, and continues to anticipate and meet the challenges when working with, between, and in spite of other government agencies. Mr. Carbolito has demonstrated persistent humility and attributes hard-earned successes to the security leadership and staff. He expresses gratitude to those doing the hard work each day, 7 days a week and 24 hours a day, and civilian staff on the ground. His humbleness is noteworthy. Through hard work and persistence, Mr. Carbolito has brought stability to DOC with clear values rooted on transparency and integrity. He empowers all around him through his ability to delegate with a necessary balance of accountability and holding everyone to strict timelines with clearly laid out expectations. He does so with an understanding that the barriers faced daily can be overcome only by working together. Mr. Carbolito has doggedly pursued and challenged barriers, of which there are mountains within Government of Guam and within DOC, to include getting overtime pay, advertising and filling essential positions, getting supplies and necessary equipment for those in his charge to do their work, adamant expectations that grant demands are met, has pressed everyone on the importance of meeting timelines and managing the administrative needs of the department, to name a few. While these key points may sound like an unrelenting expectations, Mr. Carbolito is approachable, kind in his interactions, and human. He is an exceptional listener. Yes, he listens to those around him, and in difficult times, he is incredibly supportive. He recognizes the challenges on the ground, and is empathetic to the pain, suffering, and hardships of those who do the work and those in his care. He conveys genuine curiosity of what factors led to the concerns, but is also most interested in any suggestions to address them. Mr. Carbolito has persistently navigated the political arena, albeit a challenging feat, but he does so as an effective communicator. From the challenges in working with multiple agencies whose work intersect with DOC with the goal of meeting our needs, he relies and attributes his basis of information on subject matter experts and adds such knowledge to his own perceptions honed from years of law enforcement. Patience, whenever possible, is displayed by Mr. Carbolito, as his character lacks impulsivity. He patiently listens, watches all of those around him, and again to subject matter experts, and is thoughtful, making major decisions. He is not embarrassed to say, please help me understand. The COVID-19 pandemic has challenges that every leader at every level of management. DOC has been one of the most difficult agencies as it is tasked with the care of nearly 700 souls. He, with security leadership, has developed plans to minimize risk in the world where the threat to life is invisible but ever present. He addressed the DOC community, conveying hope and faith that we all needed. In closing, DOC and Guam's island community demands continuity, as each change in leadership is seriously disruptive to the overall functioning of the department. Finally, Mr. Carbolito's tenure has healed the numerous wounds with its character and leadership qualities. It is good leadership on your part to confirm Mr. Joseph Carbolito. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat.
You're welcome.
Second in line, I want to call Mr. Jose Munoz. Joe, go ahead. Sorry. I know you have an appointment, so you're next.
Half a day, Sedus Masi, for your invitation. I'm here to support the nomination and of Joseph Carbolito to be the Director of Department of Corrections. Joe has taught for our department at GCC, under the criminal justice courses. He's very capable, very honest, and like Dr. Tamango said, very empathetic. He's a people person and he looks for solutions. I think his experience in law enforcement is unquestionable. And we've been very fortunate at Guam Community College at GCC to work with some of the wonderful people in law enforcement on island, including Chief Ignacio and Frank Ishizaki. So I think we can place Joe Carbolito in that framework, and I think he's an excellent candidate for the position of Director for Department of Corrections. Thank you, sir, and the rest of the committee for your attention. Take care.
Thank you very much, Joe. Next in line is Julie Cruz. Julie, go ahead. Julie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry. Buenas and hafa day. My name is Julie Carbolito Cruz. Mr. and Captain Joe Carbolito is my brother of 11, is my youngest brother of 11. I have known him his whole life. Joe has always been hardworking, motivated, and determined to succeed at all that he aspired to be. He joined the U.S. Marine Corps when he was 18, served for 4 years, and then returned home to pursue his career in law enforcement. Joe also received his bachelor's degree, and then years later completed a master's degree in public administration. So not only does he have the experience, he also has the education that is needed. He is the father of 4 amazing children and grandfather to 2 beautiful girls. Joe has made many sacrifices throughout his career. He has experienced many things throughout the years as an officer in the Guam Police Department and has excelled in all that he has done. I have never questioned Joe's character. He continues to shine in all that he does. Without a doubt, will step up when needed, work hard, and be the best leader your organization needs. He is a huge asset to the Department of Corrections. He comes with a wealth of knowledge and experience, so that will be the utmost importance in managing the correctional facility, its occupants, and its team. I humbly ask for your consideration in confirming my brother Joe to be the Department of Corrections Director. Sizuzmasi.
Next in line to testify, I want to call on Stephen Ignacio, my favorite police chief. Go ahead. Sorry.
Holiday, Senator, thank you for calling me up next. Good afternoon, Senator Pedo Terlaje, Chairman of the 35th Guam Legislature. I scroll through my phone. Good afternoon to all others on this live stream. I'm here to provide testimony today on the confirmation of Joseph S. Carbolito as the Director of the Department of Corrections. I remember vividly, Joe came into the department after I joined, possibly a year later. And my first assignment was with Director Carbolito when we were both special agents or investigators at Criminal Investigation Section. We both rose through the organization at Criminal Investigation and becoming homicide robbery investigators. And I think that's an important character to point out, because you need to have the ability to pay attention to detail and to be a very thorough and meticulous investigator to achieve a homicide robbery investigator status. Joe has that quality. Joe has built upon that quality throughout his career in the Guam Police Department, rising through the ranks and ultimately being promoted to police captain. Joe there are many words to describe Joe, and if I may refer to him as Joe at this point, he's hardworking and intelligent. He has the ability to learn to pay attention to the finer details, and he is a very quick learner. I think the fact that he's a quick learner is obvious when Joe moved from the Guam Police Department to the Department of Corrections. Although it is a law enforcement and public safety arena, I believe that we all understand that we have two very different missions. And the ability of Joe to adapt to that change almost overnight is really something that has to be pointed out as such an accomplishment. In his short tenure, I've seen Joe done hiring, and he's continued to doing hiring and promotions within his organization, something that I'm aware that has not happened within the organization for many years. So in the short tenure that Joe has been there, he's achieved many, many different things that have not been possible in such a very short period of time. As pointed out, upon assuming directorship in the acting capacity, Joe has really brought stability to the Department of Corrections. I am here to provide favorable testimony on his behalf, and I ask the legislature and the members to confirm Director Carbolito as the next director of the Department of Corrections. I thank everybody for your time, and I thank you, senators, for providing me the opportunity to provide testimony on behalf of Director Carbolito. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Before we proceed, I just want to recognize some of our senators that are here. I want to recognize my Senator Terlaje. I want to recognize Senator Bisco Lee and Senator Luis Muñoz. Thank you, senators, for joining us and sharing your thoughts this afternoon. So next in line to testify, I want to go ahead and call on my old good friend, Senator Frank Izazaki. Thank you, Frank. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to make sure I unmute. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear, Barry.
Okay. Well, thank you, Pedo. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, senators who are there and everybody. It's a good turnout. I can just say Joe is a great guy, and I think he's proven himself at GPD and at corrections. And I gotta disclose that I'm sort of related to him, and I hate to do that, but my primo Frankie was married to his sister Mary, and so we're all kind of connected. But in spite of that, I respect and like Joe. Okay, sorry, it's just trying to be light on this. But I think Joe has a great capacity with everything, and I think Chief Steve just highlighted his fine ability to discriminate, between all the information and facts, and he's a quick study, and I was honored to know him at GPD when I was chief for a little bit, and I think he was a sergeant at the time, and I think I think I was responsible for promotion to at least lieutenant, and then at DOC and I felt sorry for coming in, but I think we worked very, very well together, and so I'm proud to say I'm connected with Joe in different aspects, and I can think of no reason why this body should not confirm him, and I fully endorse him, and everybody's saying great things, so I'll keep it short. So thank you, Pedo.
Thank you, Frank. You're still looking young, Perry. Next in line, I want to call on Tom Tahaji. Tom, go ahead, Perry. Tom, you have to unmute. Tom, can you hear me? He needs to unmute. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next one. Tom, once you're ready, just let me know. I want to call on the acting police commander, Manny Chong. Go ahead, Manny. Thank you. Manny, can you hear me? Go ahead, Pari. All of you guys are my paris. You know, it's election time, so all of you are my paris. We're having problems with the audio. Manny, if you can hear me, can you answer your phone? Because Manny, can you? We're still having a problem. We're gonna go to the next one in line because I think they need to. Manny, can you hear me now? We're gonna go ahead and go to the next. Okay, moving forward, let me call on Kevin Guerrero. Kevin, can you hear me?
When is an off a day, Senator? Yes, sir, panel. I'm here to support Captain Joseph S. Carbolito for Director of DOC, and I'm here to provide this testimony. In the 27 years that I've been a part of the Guam Police Department, I've had the distinct privilege to work as a colleague with Captain Joseph S. Carbolito. From that unique perspective alone, I would certainly endorse Captain Carbolito for the directorship of the Guam Police Department. Corrections, but among all the contributions and service within the Guam Police Department, it is style of leadership that distinguishes him from within the force. His leadership among his fellow officers has become a staple throughout his career, from his earliest days as a police officer, one patrol officer protecting our citizens in the old Northern Precinct back in the late 1980s, to his formative days in criminal investigation / homicide and robbery units, respectively, that would both help shape and define his earlier career through the early to late 1990s. The solid background would prove invaluable when, as a police officer 3, he took on a new branch of assignments through much of the early 2000s to again tackle the streets of both Dedo and Agate precincts for their neighborhood patrol and joint operations with the civilian neighborhood watch programs. Another milestone for his service and the Guam Police Department was when he was assigned as the PIO for the newly branded Crime Stoppers programs from 2004 to 2006. This dual community outreach and criminal investigation unit had both the best elements of the patrol and neighborhood watch programs, as public safety and awareness were brought full-blown to the citizens of Guam. The hybrid program was highly effective in large part to the PIO information and leadership brought on by Captain Carbolito. His decorated service up to that point helped him evolve into the final major piece of his police service up to this point, in holding positions as operations chief in the criminal and auxiliary divisions of the force, to stints as acting precinct commander in both Hagania and his previous position as precinct commander of the Northern Precinct at the heart of Dedo since 2012. Captain Carbolito has throughout his career garnered 22 medals and citations for combined meritorious service and valor, as well as 35 letters of combined recommendation, appreciation, and commendation over those same years. A large part of Captain Carbolito's success is due to his rigor in academic excellence. Before even all of that, he had an honorable military service record, United States Marine Corps. From 1979 to 1983, serving both electronics communication as an education NCO towards the end of it, receiving both a rifle expert at work and overseas deployment ribbon. At the core of his career, he had then graduated in the 29th police cycle, the Guam Public Safety Division. Captain Carbolito garnered both a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice and Public Administration, graduating summa cum laude, both a President, Regent, and Dean Scholar from the University of Guam, as well as attaining top academic honors in public administration as a recipient of the Doc Pedro Sanchez Scholarship, culminating in a master's program. I had personally worked with him over the years in both Neighborhood Patrol and Criminal Investigation Division of the Guam Police Department, serving as his assistant in this department until now. I currently am the acting chief of that division. I will say that over the years, his dedication not just a job, but his meticulous body of work in attending both training and instructing classes on criminal law and police procedural courses have been outstanding. Those in the force know of his appetite to expand his horizons on understanding the concepts of police and public safety professions. Literally thousands of hours completed and instructed courses involving the spectrum of public safety policies and protocols have flowed through his career. From police force protection to include homeland security protocols, to his heart of his profession with homicide and burglary investigations, even responding to disaster level preparedness. I would say in large part that I, among of his peers, had taken note and followed his lead, taking these courses of theory and putting in best practices in the day-to-day operations within the Guam Police Department. In the literal prime of his career, I summarized the aspects that impressed me the most in my working and personal relations about Captain Carbolito was that through his own rigor to be the best he could be in the force, the ability to accumulate and effectively use education to project onto current police theory and law enforcement policies, and his ability to effectively promote and represent those ideals of the Guam Police Department, carrying them through the various programs like Crime Stoppers and Neighbor Watch program, has led to his division promotion to his current position as the precinct commander of the largest police division in Guam, Northern Precinct in Detainees. His body of work has given him a unique distinction and perspective how to run security and rehabilitation programs in large settings like the Department of Corrections. His knowledgeable and proven leadership style, coupled with his effectiveness to promote the attributes of any system or program that he is involved in, would be natural and a great fit as being the director for the Guam Department of Corrections. The correctional facility sorely needs his professionalism and ability to effectively lead within the department, and the infrastructure would be critical appointment for the Guam Department of Corrections. In the end, leaders like Captain Joseph S. Carbolito are vital to the success of any law enforcement security program that the government of Guam institutes. I can personally attest to that. He has helped affect the arc of my own career uniquely positive light. You'll be the best choice of director for the Guam Department of Corrections. I really humbly ask you to support his nomination for directorship. Thank you.
Thank you. A good testimony, sir.
Thank you.
I want to call on Katrina Polanca. Katrina, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Katrina Polanca, daughter of Joe and Jenny Carbolito, and I'm here today to support the confirmation of Joe Carbolito for Director of the Department of Corrections. Daughter, you might ask, well, why are your last names different? Joe Carbolito is my stepdad, but I've called him dad since he married my mom when I was 6 years old. Since that day, on June 12, 1999, Joe Carbolito, dad, raised my brother Tristan and me as his own. One of my first memories of my dad was when I was around 6. Before my dad came into my life, I was a pretty spoiled brat and didn't follow any rules. He had been trying to teach me to put away my toys. I was pretty inconsistent about doing that. One day when I returned home, I found that my small stamp collection was missing. I searched everywhere for it and couldn't find it. And I told my mom and dad that I couldn't find the stamp collection, and my dad finally revealed that he had thrown it away because I left it out in the hallway. I threw a fit, stomped around, cried and cried. None of my tactics worked. The stamp collection was gone. And from that point on, I made it a point to put away my toys. I'm so grateful for that moment and all of the future years of discipline and guidance that my dad provided. I don't know where I'd be without it. And with discipline came diligence. My dad is one of the hardest working people I know. Having spent decades in the police department, he was always on call. With the state of the world today, it's easy to forget that when others are running away from danger, police officers run toward it. I remember my dad driving through typhoons and leaving us at home with our mom so he can answer the call of duty. I remember my dad cutting short a New Year's Eve celebration to rush over to a crime scene. I remember days when his overnight shift schedules meant that he would hardly see his family. His duty and service to the island of Guam always came first. The sacrifices were justified by his love of his job. Though he wouldn't talk about it much, I don't think discussing criminal activity is the most appropriate topic for the dinner table. I never heard him complain about being woken up at 2 a.m. and rushing to a crime scene to be briefed on a case. That's how I knew he really loved the job. And when you love the job and live in service, you're not afraid to take on new challenges. I'm very proud of my dad for taking on this new challenge, leading the Department of Corrections. The role is an important one, imperative to keeping the island of Guam safe, family-oriented community that we all know and love. And even if he weren't my dad, I would confidently say that there is no one more hardworking, smarter, and dedicated than Joe Carbolito to lead the agency. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Katrina. I'm going to go back to, moving forward again, I want to call on Tom Tahaji. Tom, go ahead.
Chairman, I apologize for the first round. Apparently, I had issues with the computer. But anyways, I'd like to say half a day and good afternoon, Honorable Pedo Terlaje, Chairman of the Committee of Public Safety, committee members, and the honorable members of the 35th Guam Legislature. My name is Tom Tahaji, and I am the president of BT International. I come before you today in support of the nominee of Joseph S. Carbolito to serve as the director of the Department of Correction. Before I begin my testimony, I would like to read a quote from one of our nation's greatest president, former President Ronald Reagan, who I had the opportunity to meet personally in my early 20s. By the way, I'm still in my early 20s. Ronald Reagan once said about a great leader, and I quote, "The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest thing, but is the one that gets the people to do the greatest thing." And I want to repeat that again. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest thing, but he is the one that gets the people to do the greatest thing. The greatest leader is not necessarily, With that said, I come before you today to say that Mr. Joseph Carbolito fits that description as a leader, to serve as the director of the Department of Correction, a person who I know that can lead the department. I've known Brother Joe as a longtime friend who has a very distinguished career in law enforcement. He has dedicated his life to public service and as a member to the first member of Guam's finest. Over 30 years, Joseph has risen through the ranks and remained committed to serving and protecting our island community. You would be hard pressed to find another person with so many awards and accolades, from distinguished and meritorious services to the Medal of Valor and even life-saving medal. And Joe has never thought twice to put himself in harm's way to save another, to help someone else. Throughout his career, he has served in various capacities within the Guam Police Department, from patrolling Guam streets and solving homicides, to spokesperson, to running precincts and divisions, leading the rank and file. Each of these positions have given Joe ample experience to grow as a leader, become more resilient, and identify solutions to challenges. He is a man of his word, a man of integrity and compassion, and he exhibits all the characteristics of a great leader. As we all know, the Department of Correction has had its fair share of challenges during these couple of years. The department has needed solid leadership and a leader who can bring the staff together as a team to work collectively to address the many issues facing the prison. Even during the pandemic, Joe has proven capable to handle any challenges that comes his way and did it in a way that united the personnel. I'm confident in his ability, and I know that he is the right person to help the department and move the prison forward for the future, and especially during these trying times. Thank you for the opportunity to express my support, and I humbly request your favorable consideration of Joseph Carbolito's confirmation. In closing, I would like to read another quote of what makes a good leader. A good leader leads the people from above them. A great leader leads the people within them. Mr. Chairman, committee members, and honorable senator, Joe Carbolito is that man and that can lead the Department of Correction. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to testify on behalf of Joe Carbolito.
Thank you very much, Tom. I just want to recognize one of our senators that just stepped in, Senator Joe San Agustin, the chairman for the budget of our government. Thank you, Joe, for showing up. Thank you. Next in line, I want to call on Manny, Major Manny Chong. We're still having that audio problem with Manny.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead, Manny. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No
Time
problem.
to get on the phone. Okay, good afternoon, Senator Jose Pedo Terlaje, and everybody in attendance. My name is Major Manuel R. Chong, the Acting Police Commander and the Operations Bureau Chief for the Guam Police Department. This missive is my formal testimony in support for the confirmation of Joseph Carbolito for the Director of the Department of Corrections. It was I who recommended him to the position of Acting Deputy Director for the Department of Corrections earlier this year, and it is my honor and privilege to support him in his quest to become the Director. When I nominated Joe for the Acting Deputy Director position, he accepted the position without any hesitation. As we all know, the Department of Corrections has always been an agency that suffers from personnel shortages and scrutinized for overtime expenditures. It is not an agency that has people breaking the doors down to apply for the positions. He knew this, yet he was still willing to accept the position. I'd like to give a brief background of what I know about Joe Carbolito. He's a military veteran who served in the U.S. Marine Corps. He joined the Guam Police Department and was a member of the 29th Police Cycle that went through training from January 19, 1989 to August 24, 1989 at the Guam Community College. He was also a class commander at one point in time. After graduation, we were assigned to the Detainees Precinct Command, however, in different shifts. After several months on the job, we were both assigned to the same shift. The two of us were highly motivated rookie officers and competed for cases while on duty. After a few years, Joe was transferred to the Criminal Investigations Division, where he was later sent off island for homicide investigations training. It was through his hard work and dedication as a detective that he was nominated for the prestigious Officer Award and eventually won it. As we progressed in our careers, we came up the ranks together and we were promoted at the same time for Police Officer 2, Police Officer 3, Sergeant 1, and Lieutenant. He pursued his education at the University of Guam and received his bachelor's degree and master's in public administration. At the time, when not too many officers thought about getting their college degrees. He set the example for others to follow, myself included. He is a good worker and offers his assistance to other command staff whenever he can in regards to personnel or vehicles. He can pass the current Guam Police Department police officer physical agility test, and he was able to pass the Air Force physical fitness standards that was first implemented as the law enforcement agency PFQT test, and later the 2.0 PFQT version. Not too many directors, especially from the Department of Corrections and the Guam Police Department police chiefs, can pass even one of the above mentioned tests. Joe can pass all three versions. Not only is Joe Carbolito a co-worker, but he is also a good friend. We have a great working relationship, and he is a good leader. He leads by example and is not above talking to the lower ranking personnel on a professional or personnel level. He is down to earth, honest, and tells it like it is, meaning that he will give his input on any matter or issue without sugarcoating it. He is a fixture in the Guam sports community as a basketball referee. He is also a pretty good basketball player, where he played in several basketball leagues as a member of a Guam Police Department team or for his section during the Police Week basketball leagues. He is a part of the 1995 Varsity Football League championship team of the University of Guam Tritons, where we were both running backs. No other team had 2 police officers in the backfield. He is also a musician, and his forte is Kalapana. When he starts singing and playing the guitar and you close your eyes, it's as if Brian Ferry Jr. came back to life. In conclusion, Joe Carbolito should be confirmed as the Department of Corrections Director. He has the military background, educational background, law enforcement experience, physical capabilities. He's a pillar of the sports community as an official and former athlete. He has the motivation and willingness to be the director, and most importantly, the acting police commander, the highest ranking uniformed Guam police officer, the operations bureau chief of the Guam Police Department is endorsing him. Thank you for your anticipated positive response. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Manny. Going forward, I want to call my good friend, Pete Roberto. Peter, go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Senator Terlaje and members of the committee. For the record, I'm Pete Roberto. I'm with the Guam Community College. And I just want to say, first and foremost, how excited I was when I heard the news that Joe was given the tap to head up to DOC and assist the department. For the past 7 years, I've known Joe. In fact, Joe and I, of all places, we met in the parking lot. And in the parking lot here at GCC, he was walking in, and of all places, walking right into class. You know, Joe has been he has a passion for teaching and a story. I mean, his desire for education goes before him. In fact, the students, even those who are in rank right now, know that they had Joe for class. It's either police ops or, you know, criminal investigations or right there in the academy. And so I'm very happy, and I fully support the nomination of Governor Leon Guerrero for Captain Terlaje and Captain Joseph Carbolito to step into the role of director. Joe, again, he's very familiar with the curriculum here at GCC. He's in fact given a lot of contributions, and to his credit, you know, there's been a lot of changes in the curriculum, especially in police org theory, concepts of police operations, and criminal investigation. Lastly, I just want to also comment about something about Joe. We all know that, you know, Captain Carbolito is very much a very kind, a very humble man, and can be very methodical and kind of quiet. But what people don't see, that I had a privilege to see out here at GCC, is his ability to collaborate, to bring people to the table. And actually, you know, he doesn't really push himself on you. He's just he's a strong listener, and he actually brings things that are really important to the conversation. So with that, I know that he will really be a great addition to the Post Commission, and I wish him very well. again, Senator Terlaje, thank you for the opportunity, and good luck, my good friend Joe. Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you very much. Next in line, I want to call on the warden of the Department of Correction, Mr. Alan Bora. Go ahead, Alan. You have to unmute, Alan.
Let me start all over. When is enough day, Mr. Chairman?
Half a day.
Corrections Facility Superintendent for the Department of Corrections. And I am submitting my testimony in support the confirmation of Acting Director Joseph Carbolito. Since Mr. Carbolito's appointment as the Acting Director of DOC back in January, within this short stint, he's had an immediate impact on operations. He has proven to be a strong leader and is driven to move our department forward to success. He is educated and has extensive knowledge, experience in law enforcement. He is honest, understanding, supportive, delegates responsibilities, and trusts his subordinates to successfully execute their duties with minimal supervision. He promotes teamwork, inspires, motivates, and has managed to gain the respect of all our staff. In the midst of this pandemic crisis, Mr. Carbolito took charge and did not deal under pressure. He maintained his composure and worked diligently to obtain needed resources such as cleaning supplies, protective gear, and equipment. He worked aggressively for the recruitment of new officers, reinstated the Special Operations Response Team, and has successfully garnered their support for long-awaited staff promotions. Mr. Carbolito has improved and implemented numerous policies and protective measures to ensure the safety of inmates and staff alike. In the words of Dennis Leary, crisis doesn't create character, it reveals it. Mr. Carbolito's character has revealed his commitment and dedication to DOC. His leadership skills and personal qualities is a testament that he is an asset to DOC, who will help our department progress to better serve the clients left in our charge. Mr. Carbolito's skills have far surpassed my expectation. As we both share the same penological interests, I am honored to be working with Mr. Carbolito, and I fully support his confirmation as our director. In closing, I would like to extend my utmost gratitude to the Governor, Lourdes Longuerero, Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio, and all the senators from the 35th Guam Legislature for your continued support to DOC. Under the strong leadership of Mr. Carbolito, our department will continue to strive for great success. Thank you, Senators. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Alan. Good testimony. Next in line, I'm going to call on Therese Tayama. Then go ahead, Therese. How's your dad? Good? Go ahead and unmute.
Thank you for asking, Chairman Terlaje. My dad is doing well. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone from DOC and the public as well. I want to ask you to accept my testimony on behalf of my favor for Captain Joseph Carbolito as Director of Corrections. Unlike everyone else, when I first met the director back in September, I was like, sir, kahazi how? Because I had never ever met him in my life. And he's been with us as of September, and he has served as my director since January of this year. And the only thing that I knew of him is that he had served 2 decades in the Guam Police Department. And like Ms. Polanca, I am the daughter of a retired police officer, so I can understand the sacrifices, ma'am, that your father has made in service to our island. So I can really appreciate that. And this speaks more of your father's character that has only been captured by you. So honor to you for that. Within the 3 months that Director Carbolito has led our department, the COVID-19 pandemic started. So this was unprecedented for the island of Guam as well as the world. If you all remember, the world shut down and we're still closed. But under Director Carbolito's leadership, the challenge of COVID-19 was addressed by his immediate enactment of a protocol and standard operating procedures for our institution. To this time, there is still strict enforcement, as you can see, of the protocol and safety measures with scheduled testing for the rest of the population as well as for the staff. We are hopeful for a good outcome for everyone. And thus far, I am so proud to say that on a national level and on a local level, we here at the Department of Corrections is 100% staff COVID free. Now, I think that is worthy of accolades and mention to Director Carbolito, and kudos to him for that. So, you know, we're making great strides in comparison to everyone on the national level. So you legislatures, I hope you take heed and make mention of that, because for one, we are always under public criticism for what we failed to do, but what we are doing right is worthy of that. And thank you to the director for having met that challenge. As far as coming from the casework and counseling division, as you can see, I'm here with my cohorts, Ms. Donna Cruz and Ms. Linda Charfris, and they are alongside the rest, everyone else in the division in support of Mr. Carbolito. We have been here for the time I've been here, as well as even maybe 2 decades when he started his career, with having lost positions that had never been filled. But thanks to his understanding of management, of retention, and of rewarding those who do good work, we recently had the promotion of one of our staff members, and we recently interviewed for promotion of 2 other positions with the intention of Mr. Carbolito to continue on with the hiring once those positions are filled. So that in a direct level has really helped with our increase our morale, and has garnered more commitment from the people from we here at Casework and Counseling. So in moving us forward, I would like you to please confirm his nomination. We look forward to working with him, and we are pleased that he is here with us. Thank you for your time. Oh, yes. Okay, go ahead. Well, and if I may allude to Ms. Donna Cruz for a few words. Ms. Donna.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and allow that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, here? Yes, okay. Alfade, Senator Terlaje, and other individuals up at the Zoom. My name is Donna Moffness Cruz. I am from the village of Detainees. I have worked with the Department of Corrections for 23 years. 6 years as a parole officer and 17 years as a corrections social worker. Mr. Carbolito is an excellent director. Since his appointment, he has improved the Department of Corrections in the areas of communication, security, and morale. He's gearing to place the department in the 22nd century. He has also provided the department with more equipment, staffing, and has supported staff to be upgraded, as well as trying to retain its employees. In the past, the Department of Corrections seemed to be the least important law enforcement entity. However, Mr. Carbolito is putting DOC on the map by obtaining training for its employees to be a correction facility, as it is stated. Instead of a prison, it is the Department of Corrections. Since Mr. Carbolito has been the acting director of corrections, we have improved by deterring contraband from entering the facility. He has all staff tested for COVID-19, and we are all negative. He has taken so many steps to ensure the safety for staff and its prisoners, to include the plans in the event of the COVID hits our department. I support the confirmation of Mr. Carbolito for Director of the Department of Corrections. Thank you. Sincerely, Donna Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next in line, I want to. Okay. Thank you very much. Next in line, I want to call Melanie Brennan. Melanie, go ahead now.
Alfade, Senator Jose Terlaje, and members of this.
Melanie, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay.
Good.
Alfade, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to provide testimony for the confirmation hearing of Joseph Joe Carbolito I have known Joe for decades throughout our law enforcement careers, attending various trainings, working on special operations, and at stakeholder meetings, and more recently, in his capacity as the acting director of DOC and mine as the director of DYA. We meet regularly as members of this administration's Public Safety Committee. Joe's tenure of over 30 years at GPD speaks volumes about his commitment to public service. His glowing qualifications are further demonstrated by his rank as a police captain, by his adjunct instructorship for the Criminal Justice Department at GCC, his bachelor's degree and his master's degree, and of course his military service as a veteran of the Marine Corps. I could go on and on about all his as I think Manny said, his accolades, but really it is his quiet and intentional leadership skills and his genuine commitment to improving DOC despite the unimaginable challenges that have plagued DOC for years, and of course the mounting challenges of these uncertain times. As managers of correctional agencies, Joe and I have had robust discussions about correctional reform, about our aging facilities, about problems with recruitment, about staff retention, succession planning, workforce development, and morale. We also have had discussions about the challenges of meeting post requirements and the mandates of the Prison Rape Elimination Act, of which we will both our agencies are going to undergo audit, I think beginning on October 24th. We talk about the risk of inmate suicide, the risk of escape. We talk about inmate lawsuits and inmate medical and mental health service delivery, substance abuse treatment, and a whole host of parallel issues. Joe believes collaborative leadership and shared resources will benefit the overall correctional system on Guam and ultimately enhance community safety. He accepted his appointment as the acting director
Take
of
one again, so I don't have to go in, no? He's coming in.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Joe accepted his appointment as acting director of DOC in a time of crisis without the fanfare of normal cabinet appointments. He has worked diligently and effectively every single day since he was appointed to support employees and to address the multiple needs of his department. His life work in public safety make him the ideal candidate to navigate DOC through these difficult waters. DOC will evolve under his leadership to a place where public confidence is restored because the fundamental goal of inmate security is prioritized and personnel are given the tools they need to do increasingly complex, demanding, and often dangerous jobs. It is for these reasons that I implore you to confirm his appointment as the director of the Department of Corrections. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Melanie. Next in line, I want to call on my good friend, Bob Camacho. Bob, go ahead. Bob, you need to unmute, right?
So sorry. Good afternoon, Senator Terlaje, Senator Bisco, Senator Taitagui. Thank you for this opportunity. And of course, good afternoon to the acting director. Most of the people that decide to come to the Department of Correction as a director or deputy director, pretty much they don't realize the complexities of a Department of Corrections and the overwhelming challenges. And I have to say that Joe has met these challenges full force and has addressed these issues, problematic issues with the Department of Corrections with a good heart and great leadership. So I'm here to testify in support of Acting Director Joe Carbolito in his confirmation. I've had the honor and privilege of working with him as the Deputy Chief of Police several years ago at the Guam Police Department, and also as the Deputy here at Department of Corrections since March of this year. In both departments, he has shown great management and leadership skills. And I have found Director Joe Carbolito as very qualified and well suited for this position. In the short time that he's been acting director, he really has stepped up to the plate and garnered a lot of knowledge, and in such a short time. This is quite incredible, and because it is very complex, from legal issues to inmate issues, food services, medical issues. It's just a whole overwhelming department and probably one of the most hardest departments to run. He has managed the department during this extremely difficult time in the pandemic. And through his leadership, we were able to prevent, I guess, as mentioned before, to avoid the widespread of COVID in our employees. Tomorrow we will be doing testing for all the 600 some detainees and inmates. We're going to be doing testing, so we're hoping that that works out well. He's pushed for more personnel. We have about 70 recruitments that has gone through. He's fought for promotions, as mentioned earlier. Equipment, improved the facility. One real notable one was we had this water. When I came in, I found out that we had a very bad water system that's going to the facility, and sometimes the water was so slow that inmates had to use buckets to fill up certain areas. So that was just resolved after many years of not being fixed. So that was done because he coordinated with DPW and Guam Water Works, and we had it completed. We've also conducted several critical training, establishment of policies with the COVID and other matters with training, and we've also applied for several federal grants. So this, in the midst of everything else, in the midst of all the chaos of the pandemic and all the restrictions, we were still able to do things that in normal situation, people would have just tapped out. And said, oh, this is just too overwhelming. Under his watch, we were able to secure over $2 million in the CARES Act, and we reestablished the SORT team and also the internal affairs. And so there's, from that time we established the SORT operations, we've caught many of contraband trying to be infiltrated into the facility because of his leadership decision. We're establishing 4 different sites here at the Department of Corrections for video conferencing with the courts. And this will save a lot of time and be cost effective overall. So that alone is a huge undertaking. We've renovated the Hagatna precinct and also the Guam detention facility. And so now that we have the parole division there, and we did that within about 2.5 months. That is something well mentioning. We also will be establishing the first Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center annex. We've renovated one facility that was condemned, and we will be helping with the mental health clients coming from Guam Mental Health and Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. There are many other accomplishments, and I think that many people have already mentioned them, so I won't get into that. But to keep it brief, I worked with him for the past several months, and I've seen that he has truly made a positive impact, and his integrity is beyond reproach. And he's determined and committed to the mission. DOC is probably one of the most difficult agencies to run, but he has shown his ability to lead and is deserving of the confirmation. I just think that he's one of the finer directors. I've been through many directors. I've worked for Department of Corrections for over, now going on 23 years when I came back from retirement. but I see that he's, really committed, and he has a certain leadership styles, very similar to Frankie Shizaki, very well, even-keeled personality, and able to look at things subjectively and make good decisions. So the only disappointment I have is that he didn't tell me he knows how to sing. So he's had a hidden talent there. But otherwise, I just want to say, job well done, sir. I am in full support of his confirmation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bob. The next one in line moving forward is Captain Lazama. And right after that, I'm gonna allow, the principal to, we got Senator San Agustin also. So I wanna call on Captain Lazama to go ahead and do her testimony. Captain Lazama, you're on.
Hello, sir. I'm using the Warden's computer. Good day and good afternoon to everyone. I am in support of Acting Director Carbolito to be our director for Department of Corrections. We've been working with him for already 1 year. My testimony is like 4 pages long, so I don't want to read it, but I believe you guys have a copy of it. So I'm just gonna make it short. Everyone has said everything about Director Carbolito. His background in law enforcement says it all, military especially. Also, the support from his family tells me that he's gonna do his job good. Okay, because that's what corrections is about. We're watching 600 some prisoners, and they're really like our own children. So, and that's in the interest of rehabilitation. Okay, it's not just about safety and security, it's also about rehabilitation. Okay, it is true that the difficulty is taking care of the prisoners here. And why? Because they're humans. So we have to ensure that they are taken care of 24/7. We have to also make sure that their constitutional rights are not violated. Okay, so that's another thing. Mr. Carbolito, or Director Carbolito, started last year, September. And so far, the way I see it, his demeanor, everything, he's very professional. He's serious on the job. When something needs to be done, he does it. And also, if I ask for help, he gives me guidance, and that's what I need. I need guidance from my leaders, especially in a difficult situation. So I support Director Carbolito. Even if he was with us only for 1 year, I'm pretty sure he already learned a lot about the corrections field, because it's not the same as any other law enforcement. It's totally different. But I can say he does know, because he's been with us for a year already. So I just want to thank him for being with us and not giving up on us corrections officers and our corrections staff. I really appreciate it. And I also want to thank Deputy Director Robert Camacho for joining our team here at Department of Corrections. I also appreciate all of you leaders, the senators. You've been working so hard during this pandemic. Everyone has. I really appreciate it. And it's through prayers that's making us strong, especially us here in Guam. You know, our people here in Guam. We're actually dealing with this pandemic for the very first time. It's a very challenging time, but we're strong. Us Islanders, we're very strong. We help each other. We don't make fuss or anything, but we're a great team. Okay, that's all I can say, and especially Director Carbolito. I really appreciate you for staying with us, just so you know. And also it was mentioned about uniting our team and our officers. That is true. That is very true. Okay, so welcome to our family, Mr. Carbolito, and also to Deputy Director Camacho. I really appreciate it. Also you, Senator Terlaje, Pedo Terlaje, thank you very much for supporting DOC and making the time for us, okay? And all of you senators, I really appreciate everything. The one thing I have for all of you guys is stay positive, always be positive, and prayers, because that's what's gonna help all of us to do our job. Okay, so that's all I have to say. I don't wanna make it long because I'm a very chatty person, okay? All right, thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Captain Lazama. Before I move on to the principal, to the acting director, I want to ask our chairman for budget, because we do have a budget hearing, but budget section at 2 o'clock. So I want to ask him, Joe, if you can hear me. Joe, if you can hear me, I need to ask you something. Joe, can you hear me? Hey, Joe, I want to ask you, actually, we're going to go back on the budget session today.
When you're done, Senator Terlaje, when you're done, because Joe Carbolito's confirmation is very important. We need to get him settled. We need to get DOC on track and in black.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this point in time, I want to call on the acting director, Mr. Joe Carbolito, to go ahead and present your testimony. Joe, go ahead.
Thank you, Senator. Buenas and half a day, Mr. Chair, Honorable Senator Jose Pedo Terlaje, and Honorable Senators of the 35th Guam Legislature. First, I simply want to express my appreciation for the opportunity to testify before you on this confirmation hearing for my appointment as Director of Department of Corrections. Thank you all. I want to acknowledge and thank the Governor of Guam, the Honorable Lulian Guerrero, and the Lieutenant Governor of Guam, the Honorable Josh Tenorio. I am humbled by the trust they placed in me, and I will always remember that it's you, the people of Guam, whom I serve. I was born to Francisco Muña Carbolito of Aguiat and Juliana Tepasne Santiago Carbolito of Yumatec, and was born the 10th of 11 children. I grew up in the village of Aguiat. My parents, who are both deceased, were World War II survivors. My father worked and retired as a carpenter for the Government of Guam Department of Public Works, and my mother was a housewife who took care of the family. I have been married to my beautiful wife, Jenny, for 21 years and have 4 children who are all adults now. Jolene Neilani, 34 years old, Colin Joseph, 30 years old, Katrina, 28 years old, and John Tristan, 24 years old. I have 2 granddaughters, Riley, 12 years old, and Raiden, 10 years old. My life in public service started in 1979, when at 18 years old, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps to serve my country. But it wasn't until 10 years later in 1989 that I would make a decision that solidified my career as a public servant. That was the year I applied to become a police officer for the Guam Police Department. 8 months later, I proudly graduated from the police academy and joined the rank and files as a first-year police officer and never looked back. I worked hard to prove myself and competed for every promotion and ascended the ranks to my current rank as a police captain. I was assigned to just about every area of the police department as a subordinate, supervisor, and senior manager. Those areas include, but are not limited to, patrol, internal affairs, public affairs, auxiliary, administration, and most notably at the Criminal Investigations Division as a homicide detective, supervisor, and manager. I worked on the most heinous violent crimes that no one could imagine would happen in our beautiful island of Guam. Ironically, those violent criminals that I arrested and helped get convicted are now under my care to help rehabilitate. I am a decorated police veteran receiving numerous awards, including the highest award, the Medal of Valor for acts of bravery and life-saving. I am also part of our educated workforce in the government, a product of our public school system and the University of Guam. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice with numerous academic awards, graduating with honors as a magna cum laude and a master's degree in public administration. There is a great deal of responsibility that comes with protecting the people of Guam. When you're a police officer, you never truly clock out. The work follows you home. It's the same at DOC. There hasn't been a day in the last 30 years that I have not thought about my mission to protect and serve. In reflecting on those last 3 decades of my life, I've realized that what started as a job became a career. That career became my life. That life became my identity. Just as much as a part of me as my mission to be a good son, a good husband, and a good father. Here I am before you, embarking on a new chapter of public service as a director of Department of Corrections, a system that is vital to the safety and security of our island, but one that has seen years of instability. This mission of the Guam Department of Corrections is to protect the public from the destructive action of law offenders through control and rehabilitation. I am committed to not only upholding, but excelling in that mission. Status quo is not an option. As the Director of Department of Corrections, I will place a renewed focus and emphasis on rehabilitation for offenders. The tendency for convicted criminals to reoffend is both a local and national issue. We have a foundation for success with a handful of reentry programs currently running, like the Residential Substance Abuse Treatment, RSAT, and the Educational Release, Work Release, and Work Credit programs. But it's not enough. There are more programs that we just added and are in motion. Although it is the philosophy that release preparation begins the first day of incarceration, focus on release preparation intensifies at least 18 months prior to release. The release preparation program includes classes in areas such as resume writing, job search, and job retention. Many institutions hold mock job fairs to provide inmates an opportunity to practice job interview skills and to expose community recruiters to skills available among releasing inmates. Qualified inmates may apply for jobs with companies that have posted job openings. The program also includes presentations by community-based organizations that help ex-inmates find jobs and training opportunities after release. The Guam Immediate Violation Enforcement, GIVE program, better known nationwide as the Swift, Fair, and Certain Sanction Program. Through this sub-award, which I signed and agreed to, the judiciary will compensate DOC for the detention of GIVE program participants who are sanctioned to jail time at DOC at a rate of $130 per day. This will also pay for the cost of physical exams for GIVE participants mandated to more than 14 days of detention. DOC has agreed to allow GIVE participants to receive individual and group drug and alcohol therapy and treatment through the judiciary's contracted counselors. A pre-apprenticeship reentry program with GCC is in progress and under discussion. The program's intent is to provide inmates with different trades and job skills, while we solicit the support of local employers to consider these individuals for job placements upon completion of the program and re-entry back into society. We do not want revolving doors in our correctional facility. The people of Guam will be better served by rehabilitating criminals and providing them with the resources to become productive members of society when they are released. A major part of ensuring that we succeed is to modernize the current facility. A new prison facility will alleviate the existing overcrowding problem and solve a large part of staffing and security challenges that are all key to providing adequate services to the prison population and ultimately protecting the public. I will spearhead the development of a new correctional facility with vigor, urgency, and most importantly, an actionable plan. A master plan has already been developed and submitted to the governor's office for her approval. This will take us one step closer to our goal of a new prison. I will work closely with the governor's office and this legislative body to pursue all funding options available. Behavioral and mental health services, DOC and GBHWC have recently agreed to consolidate services by creating a GBHWC annex at DOC to better serve all clients in need of this service. After several discussions between the two agencies, an executive order by the governor of Guam was recently signed into effect, and a memorandum of agreement between the two agencies is forthcoming. Additionally, my vision, supported by the current administration, is to build a new forensic unit within DOC, which would house these services. Upon assuming the helm at DOC, I was faced with a media blitz regarding complaints by federal inmates alleging inhumane conditions. Rather than denying or fighting the issue, I swiftly addressed this by using a proactive management approach and resolved the matter to the satisfaction of the federal public defender. With reference to the current COVID-19 environment we are in, DOC, under my leadership, developed a pandemic plan, a COVID-19 policy, a COVID-19 contingency plan, and quarantine and isolation operations plan. These measures, with other internal directives and guidelines for prevention, including aggressive procurement of protective supplies and equipment, are all in place and have so far been successful in the fight against this pandemic. The DOC commissary is work in progress. This was recently enacted into law, and a policy is being developed, as well as the mechanisms of the system that needs to be in place for implementation. This program will be electronically operated with a controlled point of sale, POS, from a contracted vendor. The benefit of having this system is that it will alleviate the high traffic of family members bringing in items to the facility, and consequently decrease the number of contraband being brought in. The Corrections Reserve Program, this is also in the works. A draft policy is already completed and awaiting a dedicated funding source to budget the program. DOC will start planning on the target groups to solicit for recruitment. Of course, those trained and experienced are the quickest and most ideal to target, e.g. retired officers or those with criminal justice or LE backgrounds. Federal funding, $2 million in Department of Interior DOI funding was recently approved under my leadership to be allocated to replace the fire suppression units at both Hagåtña and Manila facilities. A portion of this funding will also be used to repair or replace the air conditioners and locking mechanisms at the different posts. There are all pre-existing problems that have plagued DOC for years and is mentioned on the Federal Receivership Report, which will finally be addressed. A major water line breakage. According to DOC staff, for many years, a major water breakage existed within DOC main facility. This caused major concerns and affected the water pressure with little to no water at several posts. The toilets could not even be flushed in one of the most populated posts. A water buffalo had to be brought in and used to augment with the water issue. The water bill was increasing every month for years. Recently, I coordinated with DPW and waterworks agencies and finally got the issue resolved. Hagatna Detention Facility. We are in the process and near completion, if not already, of renovating the area between the federal and local detention facility. Accordingly, the wall and the gate were destroyed during one of the typhoons and has never been repaired. This has caused major security problems and was a contributing factor of a recent escape. Parole Office. The Parole Office has completed its move to the old Hagatna Police Station. The building has been newly renovated and designed to suit the needs of our parole employees. This includes a parole board hearing room. Video conferencing. In conjunction with the Judiciary of Guam, DOC is renovating space at both the Hagatna and main facility in Manila to set up a video conferencing capability to enable court hearings to be conducted between detainees and their attorneys with the Superior Court of Guam. This capability is greatly needed, especially in light of the current pandemic. Special Operations Response Team. Based on my assessment and the recommendations from the DOC management team, I have reinstated the Special Operations Team, SORT. This is much needed to stabilize the safety and security of our employees. This specialized team operates with tactical skill sets and provides rapid response to all prison disturbances and/or incidents. They can conduct cell shakedowns and extractions for contraband and other emergency situations and augment personnel shortages among a list of numerous other capabilities. Lastly, I am dedicated to improving the experiences of our most valuable resource, the men and women from the front lines of the Department of Corrections. The dedication and courage exhibited by correctional officers, parole officers, caseworkers, and our other key civilian support staff who work behind the scenes deserve our utmost respect. The important work of these employees often does not receive the recognition it deserves. Their safety and welfare is a significant area of concern. Recruitment and retention will be a priority focus. My top administrative priorities: 1, conduct a comprehensive staffing analysis. This is to try to resolve one of the biggest issues that has plagued the agency for decades. Overtime expenditure is a symptom of the actual underlying problem, which is the lack of staffing. A realignment of the current organizational structure and functional statement will be a part of the analysis. 2, recruitment and retention. DOC requires adequate staffing and incentives for retention, such as promotions. There's a bottleneck at the bottom of the organization, not enough managers and a lack of leadership training. DOC needs to update its job description for each correctional officer position and conduct a compensation study to ensure equal pay and competitive wages compared to other LE agencies. Currently, about 71 GG1s for the Corrections Officer 1 and 5 Parole Officer 1 positions have cleared BBMR and the Department of Administrations. 53 have been brought on board to include several reemployments, and the rest are pending completion of the recruitment process. Additionally, 12 GG1s for civilian positions have cleared BBMR and are pending completion of the recruitment process at DOA. 35 GG1s for promotions of corrections officer positions from CO1 through Corrections Assistant Superintendent have been approved by BBMR and are pending review at DOA. In closing, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my family, friends, colleagues, and everyone who took the time to testify in support of my confirmation today. I also want to thank you, Mr. Chair, Senator Pedo Terlaje, and senators of the 35th Guam Legislature for taking the time to listen to all the testimonies for your consideration on my nomination. I have always adapted and conquered old challenges throughout my career. And in this new journey that God has called upon me to help with, I am once again ready to step up to the plate as the Director of Department of Corrections. I am ready to take on the challenge if I am privileged enough to be confirmed by this body. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Good presentation. And I want to call on the our senators. I want to start off Senator Regine Biscoli. Senator, go ahead, and then we'll go in line with Senator Tello and Senator Muña, and then I'll go last with Joe San Agustin, since it's the budget and we have schedule. So he said we can delay the budget hearing. Go ahead, Senator Lee. Thank you, ma'am.
Tudusmasi, Mr. Chair, and thank you all so much for providing testimony for us today. Dr. Timenglow, Mr. Munoz, Ms. Cruz, I really appreciate your personal and character reference for your brother. Chief Ignacio, Senator Frank, Mr. Guerrero, Ms. Polanca, also providing a very personal testimony. Mr. Tahaji, Major Chong, Mr. Roberto, Mr. Borja, Ms. Tayama, thank you, Ms. Cruz, Director Brennan, and the Deputy Director, Mr. Camacho, thank you very much for your service, and Captain Lazama, thank you so much. We really appreciate being able to hear from our community exactly, certain kind of anecdotes about Captain Carbolito, about his leadership, about his determination, his integrity, his hard work, and his commitment to the people of Guam. And so I definitely want to start off by thanking our governor and lieutenant governor for their nomination, and Sujus Maasi and Semper Fidelis to you, Captain Carbolito, and your family, your wife, your children, for accepting this nomination. We know that this is not an easy job. I'm really glad to have had the opportunity to review your packet, to hear about your many years of service, your commendations, your willingness to continue serving, and also that we have one thing in common: we're both Kalapana fans. So that's really good to hear. I want to thank Ms. Tayama and Ms. Cruz especially for recognizing that DOC remains COVID-free. And I really want to thank you, Captain Carbolito, for including the plans and policies that you've taken to really protect our employees, our detainees, inmates, and their families from this pandemic. So that was going to be my first question, but you already acknowledged that and answered it in your presentation, so I want to thank you. I also want to thank Dr. Timenglow for her testimony. Very, very grateful for her service and the work that she and her team do for our community at DOC. And Mr. Carbolito, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about the level of behavioral health services that are provided to our inmates, our detainees. I know that there's been great concern over the last few years that the capacity just isn't there to provide adequate monitoring of, everyone, the entire at-risk population at DOC. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about the existing situation with regard to behavioral health and what your plans are to improve.
Sure. Thank you, Senator, for that question. So I believe our forensic unit, which deals with the behavioral areas that you're concerned about, they're doing a magnificent job, despite maybe 4 personnel, including Dr. Timenglow. We are in the process of also improving in that area because we're hiring. We're hiring several more employees to add to that unit, knowing what the importance is of that unit and what their capabilities are as far as the need. So the current protocol is there's a remedy request that's put in for every inmate or detainee that needs that service. Once that remedy request is received, then it goes to one of the psych techs from the forensic unit, and they make the assessment and they provide the services that's needed. It's not just that we're waiting for a remedy request to be given by the inmates or detainees. The officers are responsible for also observing and making that decision as far as who may need that service. So yes, I agree that there's a lot to be probably done as far as improvement to ensure that all of our clients, our clientele is given that service. However, at this current time, we rely on what we have currently, which is the remedy request and the observations from the officers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carbolito. So remedy request, assessments, and then officer observation. And then just correct me, are you still requiring that an intake assessment or evaluation is done for every single person coming in?
That's correct. There's an assessment that's made for every detainee that comes in or inmate.
And I also want to thank you for mentioning the EO by the governor and that you have an MOU forthcoming. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity, if you're able to share any of those highlights or details with the committee regarding the MOU and what you hope to see with your collaboration with behavioral health and the behavioral health.
Yes, so the intent, because of the lack of space up at the Guam Behavioral Wellness Center right now, currently, there's a lot of challenges that they're going through. And we're having to really struggle to help each other at this point in time. Especially with the court mandates, when the court gives a court commitment order. Sometimes they force the issue and they're kind of like at odds when it comes to enforcing the court order because of the lack of space that's required up at the Guam Behavioral Center. So that's the main basis of why we're in discussions of the consolidation of these services. We have an identified area, which is our post 7. That's going to be the new inpatient adult unit, IAU. That's what it's going to be referred to, which is the annex of the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. So once that's up and standing, which it's not right now because of the COVID situation, we've prioritized that area right now for our isolation section, based on especially with the testing, priority testing that's forthcoming right now. So when we get to that point, we are still in ongoing discussions with Guam Behavioral and Wellness Center to come up with the MOU. It hasn't been completed, but when we get to that point, once we're past the hurdles that we're in right now with the ongoing testing, then of course that would be stood up, and that would kind of like remedy the situation with all the influx and court orders and court commitment orders that Guam Behavioral can't manage right now. So that's the reason why we've consolidated that service, so that we can have both inpatient and outpatient services.
Thank you very much. I wanted to ask, does DOC owe any money to GMH for medical services that are provided to inmates and detainees? And if so, can you give us an idea of how much is owed and what the plan is to pay the hospital?
So we have a contract with GMH for medical services. That contract, I believe, is somewhere around $3 million every year. And I'm not sure where we're at in our billing. We do fall behind, to be honest with you, but I try to push it out as much as I can, as fast as I can, to make sure that we pay our dues.
And how would you characterize the quality of healthcare that's being delivered based on this contract?
Based on my observations, we've done the best we can as far as providing the medical needs of our population.
Thank you, Mr. Carbolito. I acknowledging that my colleagues also may have questions, and I did hear something during your statement, and it kind of, just a light bulb went off. You were mentioning your concern with kind of breaking the cycle and not having DOC be a revolving door for inmates. And that's certainly something that's a concern for me and many members of the legislature as well. So I just wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of elaborate on your plans to address this concern about recidivism and not having this be a revolving door?
Yeah, so I mentioned that because I'm trying to focus and emphasize rehabilitation. The programs are very important. Re-entry programs, right? So it starts actually when they first come in through our doors. So we need a really good programs to ensure that our inmates are given the opportunity to get involved in these programs that that are provided to ensure that by the time they're eligible for parole and to start getting ready to go back into society, that we make them ready and be productive members of society instead of just pushing them out and making it a community problem. So my focus is to ensure that our rehabilitation programs are solid and that everyone has the opportunity to avail to those programs and to prepare them to be productive members of society once they re-enter back into the community.
Thank you very much, Mr. Carbolito. Again, I just want to thank everybody who's provided testimony for this confirmation hearing. I think it was very, it really helped to give us an idea. I mean, I don't know you personally, but now I do feel like I kind of know you. It was really great to hear all of your years of service, about your determination and the integrity that you bring to your work, and I certainly appreciate that. And I look forward to your confirmation. I look forward to confirming you. And I just really want to thank you in advance for your work that you'll do on behalf of the people of Guam. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Appreciate it.
Senator Lee, thank you very much. Joe, I just wanted to check with you. Do you want me to go with, because the next speaker would be Telo. So
short and sweet.
Continue to move, because I'm next after her anyway, and I'm gonna support Joe. So let's do it. We got Luis there, Senator Luis. So you all got supporters.
If I get the,
Okay.
you know what?
Okay. Okay.
Senator, tell us,
So-
go ahead. Go ahead, my favorite.
To just Mr. Terlaje or Senator Terlaje. And Joe, if you notice from my background, I started your confirmation hearing at home during lunch,
Okay.
and then now I'm here at the session hall right now, getting ready to go in for our session. But I didn't want to miss your confirmation hearing. It meant a lot to hear what everybody has to say. And you know, I think you were choking up when your sister Julie was speaking on your behalf, and that always touches my heart when you get your older sister come out and talk on behalf. I think I saw a tear in your eye there, you know.
Yes.
So it's always, and Julie is such a sweet person. It's a reflection of the family, and appreciate. Hey, Julie, yes, of course, and just to be there to support you was saying so much about the support you're going to get, because you're going to need a lot of support in the position that you hold, like your daughter has mentioned earlier. So Joe, you know, I've known you to be a very quiet guy, and I've learned that don't underestimate the quiet ones, you know, at all. And I know that you're listeners, so it's very important. But what I usually do is I talk to a few people at the a few correction officers, and ask them how it's going with Joe so far. How's it, you know, as a director, how's he doing? And this is the first time in a year and a half that I've gotten from all people I've spoken to great attributes about you. One of them said, oh, we're getting paid our overtime, you know, which has always been an issue. So for these individuals to talk highly about you, the officers there at DOC, it speaks highly about you. And I'm really happy to hear that, because, you know, you had me at musician. So I really, fellow musicians, we come a long way. So Joe, how long have you been at DOC now? Since you've been there, how long has it been?
I think I was first detailed up there in September 26, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, okay.
September
So you've been
26th
there
of
a while.
last year. Yes.
Right. So you've been there long enough to see what's needed and definitely get a
Yes.
report card from some of your correction officers. So, and they gave you all A's. So I'm giving you an A as well, Joe. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for serving in this very difficult position. It's a hard position of all the other directors. So my hat's off to you. And to all those who testified on his Tom, I love your Ronald Reagan. Yes, Diva. Excellent commentary there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Taitagui. Going forward, Senator Luis Muñoz, go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was hoping that you would pick me next so I could get out of my car. I've been actually sitting in here outside of the legislature.
He chairs the budget hearing.
Okay, I was even considering going in the backseat because it's actually darker there, but that would look really weird. I would feel very awkward talking to Director Joe in the backseat. But anyway, Director, I just want to thank you for stepping up to the plate again. That's, it's not a very easy job. One of the things that I would recommend, when you get confirmed is that, the media is so quick to acknowledge and promote all the controversy and inconsistencies with every agency. And I think maybe a good thing to do is just keep in contact with the media and let them know all of the great things that you have, acknowledged in your testimony. And I think that's a good thing, is that they should know that, because, most of the times the people only hear the bad stories, and they all need to hear all the good things that are happening with the agency. And so, create that positive attitude towards DOC now. And I think that's really what people want to hear, and so we're really looking forward to you stepping up there. I know you're from Detainees. I read your packet. I know you're a musician. I've known that for a while, and I also see you at the gym. So I think, all around, you're a very good guy. And even though we're hearing all these testimony from all of your colleagues in the public service agencies, I think one of the ones that the testimonies that I appreciate most are the ones that are coming from your family, to include your sister Julie and your daughter Katrina, and even from Tom. Those are the ones that are important to me, because those are the testimonies that really speak well of your character and how you're going to carry yourself out as the director for DOC. So I really appreciate them coming up and talking on your behalf. That those emotional testimonies are very important, especially to us. We need to know who you are on the inside and out as well too. So thank you very much for stepping up to this plate, and we look forward to you doing a lot of positive things for DOC. And thank you again, Joe, and for liking Calipana as well too.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much, Senator Muñoz. Going forward, I'm going to allow my favorite senator from Budget. Thank you, Joe, for being the last one, because, we're late already, but that's okay. Go ahead.
No, we're never too late. We're going to take care of Joe. We're going to take care of DOC. There's many testimonies that's been presented. Can you hear me okay, Joe?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. You guys can hear me well? Okay. The testimony that's been provided, I've been going in and out of it, but I've been listening to the confirmation. And Senator Terlaje and Director Joe, I like how Tom presented a Reagan quote, but I'm just surprised he didn't try to use John F. Kennedy, whereas ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And what Joe has done, he didn't ask the community what he can do. He went and he did what he could do for the community, which says a lot. And every competence starts with a decision to try. And Joe has done that, and he's a blue suitor like we are, Senator Terlaje and I. We're 19 cycle. Joe's a lot older, and you're a lot younger, Joe. But so that's not a problem. But we believe in one thing, and he just changed his suit from blue to green, and there's nothing wrong with it. Green Revolution is the starting point at DOC, and I like to see a DOC succeed. I like to find a way to take care of all the inmates we have, and get them out of there, get them to be productive members of the community, and take care of all the employees at DOC, and keep everybody safe. That's all it is. And Joe, may God bless you. You got my full support. and thank for everybody that gave all their testimony. Great testimony. Gives me no choice but to say yes. But I was going to say yes anyway for you, Joe. You're a great man. And may God bless you in your travels at DOC. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Pedo.
Joe, sige pa ako pati nanggo.
Nananggawa. Okay.
Okay. Just a couple of questions that I want to ask Joe. I want to thank you, Mr. Senator San Agustin and Tello and Luis. I'll be there in about maybe another 15 minutes after I talk to Joe. I just wanted to kind of just ask Joe several questions here on the, Joe, you know, I'm in the process of doing a bill on alternative sentencing. Both Melanie and you might answer that. What is your take on that? To, you know, because, you know, DOC is overcrowding, and I think DYA is overcrowding also. So we want to just let those people out and go with the family, and whatever, you know, the time spent at home, it can be counted towards their incarceration time. So I just wanted to know, Joe, your take on that, and even Melanie.
Yes, Senator, I'm in favor of trying to reduce the population that we currently have. I would just like to have it go through the regular process as far as the, you know, our casework with the classification committee, and ensure that they do fall under that eligibility status that, you know, they're required to. So as long as it goes through the proper protocol and they're eligible, like the recent, we've submitted to the governor already, the recent graduating cycle for RSAT for her possible commute and commuting in their sentences.
And Joe, I'm talking about maybe misdemeanor and below petty misdemeanor, things like that. And those are the type of inmates that I'm talking about. So I'll be talking to you and Melanie later on that one. Another thing, Joe, that I wanted to talk to you about the reserve program, because I am not sure, I don't remember putting that increase of for the reservists from 250 to 500. Is that in your budget, Joe? Because I cannot remember. You know, when you get to be my age, sometimes you forget. But but this is what I want to do. All posts certified is going to be part of that race from 250 to 500, and that's what I'm going to do to make sure that, you know, we satisfy those workers that are doing that. Another thing that Joe, I've been called by the families of remember she mass burned that got killed at DOC. I just wanted to give your thoughts about. Are you in favor? They want me to change Department of Correction to mass burn correctional facility, and it's up to you. I'm gonna take your word for it, and if you want me to do something like that, to change the name from mass burn from DOC to mass burn correctional facility. So we can talk about that later on, John.
Yes, sir.
So with that, I just want to close this confirmation hearing, and I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's confirmation hearing for Joseph S. Carbolito. And if you have written testimony, you can email it to my email, Senator Pedo at senatorjpterlaje.com, or hand deliver it to my office at 140 Aspinall Avenue, Bridgepoint Building, Hagat, Guam. And the time now is 2:36, and the Committee on Public Safety, Border Safety, Military and Veterans Affairs, Mayor's Council of Guam, Infrastructure, Public Transit is now adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.